This is Unleash Your Inner Legend, a podcast featuring modern-day legends sharing their life choices, habits, and routines that got them to where they are today. Get ready to be inspired and to take massive action to unleash your inner legend. 2019 was a great year for Unleash Your Inner Legend podcast. I launched this podcast last year in hopes that it would be the help that people need to get inspired to take action. There has been such an amazing response from it, and I couldn't be more grateful for that. I thought with the year just ending, I would love to take a look back on 2019 and highlight the top 5 most listened to podcast episodes for the year. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about our 5th most popular episode of 2019. This would be The G Code and How It Can Change Your Life with Ryan Dumon. This is an epic episode, you guys. Ryan is the real deal, and his story is amazing, and what he's doing in the sales world is game-changing. In this episode, Ryan will give so many life lessons that are very easy implemented, but then also they have huge changes that it can make in your life. If you missed this one, go back to unleashyourinnerlegend.com and listen to episode 4. You will not be disappointed. Here's a snippet from my personal favorite of this interview with Ryan when he talks about his G code and then how it can change your life. Let's take a listen.
But there's 4 areas in life that we call the G code that we focus on. Area number 1 is having a grateful mindset. You have to focus on being grateful for what you have, right? Because you'll never get what's next if you don't appreciate what's now. And even if you do get what's next, you won't appreciate it, and you'll always be chasing what's next, and you'll never be satisfied. The true balance that we find in life is not this work-life balance. The true balance that we've got to chase in life is the balance between wanting what's next and being happy and grateful for what's now.
Implement the G code in your life and watch it change. Okay, you guys, up next is number 4, the episode with my girl, Tracy Cousineau, called From $180 to Inc. 500 Company. I am so honored not only to know Tracy, but to call her one of my best friends. She's straight up a hustler that is self-made, creating her real estate empire. Tracy talks about her journey from going from having less than $200 in the bank to now having her company, Real Estate Expert Advisors, being an Inc. 500 company. She is an icon and an inspiration to so many women out there. If you missed this one, it's episode 3, so make sure to go back and take a listen. My favorite part of this episode is when Tracy talks about how she used to be an introvert and she was taught growing up that she couldn't tell anybody anything. Tracy shares her mindset shift that has helped her be bold and tell her story so that she can inspire others that are struggling as well. Let's take a listen.
I was the kid that didn't like to do book reports in class, because I had just really struggled with being able to really always step outside to be my own self. That, I would just always shake, and I had a fear of speaking because I guess I just didn't know what I was okay to say, even down to a book report, but just had that fear of it. And so what I had to learn throughout life and all the obstacles in life, I played the victim because that's all I knew, is all this thing, all these things just kept happening through my life over and over and over. And, I was a victim of it until really I had a mindset shift. And I woke up one day with the backbone and was like, this life has to stop, and really going through conferences and training and learning that, I actually am glad now. Well, not then, but now I'm glad that I had all of those obstacles and all of those failures and all those relationship problems, being verbally abused and, physically abused and, just living this life of crazy, that I actually can sit back and say, that just provided more opportunity to have a story to tell. And the more that I can tell my story, the more people that can open up and tell their story. And you don't have to wear this mask, and you don't have to be hidden and hurt by your story. Tell your story, because there's so many people out there that can resonate with your story, that if you just let them know it's okay to tell your story, or you start speaking your story, you can build rapport with so many more people.
Thank you, Tracy, for being so raw and real on the show. I appreciate you. Okay, so your 3rd most listened to podcast episode is the interview with Frank Zummo from Sum 41. Frank has been one of my most favorite artists to interview because before this interview, I knew of Frank and, of course, Sum 41, but I didn't really know him as a person. He blew me away with all the positive ways he's using his platform for youth. Also, what was super surprising was just to hear how extremely professional he is. Like, this guy didn't even go to the traditional college, but he went to professional drumming school. Crazy, right? No wonder why he's the drummer for Sum 41 and has filled in for huge bands such as Motley Crue. My favorite part of this episode was whenever he talks about how to get noticed on social media, because so many people, are out there putting out content and, well, I don't want to spoil it. Let's just get right into it. Let's take a listen.
You never know who's going to see it. And that's my advice is, everybody wants to put up content. It's like anything you put up there, even though you want to get shit up every 5 minutes, make sure that it represents you to the best of your craft, because you never know who's going to be looking at it. There are musicians now getting bands and getting gigs in the biggest bands because of a video they put up on Instagram or YouTube. That's the new way to audition.
Frank's a pretty rad dude, am I right? Okay, our second most listened to podcast episode is From Self-Destruction to Self-Discovery with Megan Cabral. You guys, I absolutely love this one because Megan and I go way back. We used to work together about 10 years ago, and during that time, we were both going through life like rough and really struggling. It's amazing to see how far she's came in life, both mentally and physically. Megan has always been a wonderful person, but to see how much she's grown over the years is awesome. My absolute favorite part of this episode was when Megan talks about disconnecting from social media and how it impacted her the most whenever she was at her lowest point. Let's take a listen.
I took a break from social media. I deleted Snapchat, got off Instagram, deactivated Facebook, and I was off for 4.5 to 5 months. And I encourage everyone just to disconnect and focus on yourself, because that's where I learned the most. Getting off social media, it's great. It has its perks, but it can also be very self-destructing to yourself, because you get on there, and especially if you're at a low point in life, you get on and, well, those people are having fun or they're doing this and that. Get off social media and center yourself. Find things that you like to do. One of my biggest outlets is working out. I work out 5 to 6 days a week, and that is the number one place that I want to be. Well, of course I want to be at home, but I want to be in the gym because that is where I grow the most.
Thank you, Megan, for the advice and really just saying what a lot of people need to hear right now. And that's just making sure you guys take a time to disconnect and really focus on yourself. Okay, you guys, drum roll, please. Coming in for the number one spot of the most listened to episode of 2019 for Unleash Your Inner Legend podcast is Becoming the Social Media Queen with Gogo. Gogo is pure fire. For those who don't know of her, she's in real estate and she's dubbed the social media queen, and rightfully so. She's the fastest growing team in our EXP downline, and when you listen to her, there's no wonder why she is. I've had the pleasure of knowing Gogo through real estate, but was floored when I got her on the podcast and really got to know her. She's the perfect picture of living the American dream. In this episode, she talks about her journey from coming from a communist community to her trip to the United States on just taking a leap of faith, and she crushed it. You have to listen to this one if you haven't already. This is episode number 17, and her story is absolutely inspiring, and her personality is pure fire. Gogo talked on some serious tips in regards to finding and growing your tribe in this episode, so here's a sneak peek of it.
You have to find your tribe, and the only way you can attract them, or the only way they can find you, is if you show your true colors. Because people are attracted to people alike. And then if they're like, oh, she's my peeps, then they're going to work with you. But if they don't know you, and all they know is the last listing you did or the new open house that you do or some, stats about real estate, they don't know you. So they can go then with any realtor.
Congratulations, Gogo, for being the number one most downloaded or played, whatever you want to call it, episode of Unleash Your Inner Legend. I really appreciate you being vulnerable, telling us your story, and then also just giving some massive value too when it comes to helping others grow their social media. That's it, you guys. That's the top 5 most downloaded episodes of 2019. I am so grateful for all the love, support, downloads, and guests that have been on the podcast. I cannot wait for more inspiring interviews and episodes in 2020. Thank you all for tuning in, and cheers to the new year. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Unleash Your Inner Legend. For more inspiration, make sure to subscribe by going to unleashyourinnerlegend.com. We'll see you guys next week.